Hi! Hey guys, my name's Chanel Perrillo, and I'm a casting director and producer based in Los Angeles. I've cast shows like Drag Race, F-Boy Island, The Real Housewives franchise, and Million Dollar Listing, to name a few. I want to welcome you to Shut Up Chanel, a podcast where I take you through my LGBTQIA plus journey, while each week I get to chat with the queer royalty that helped shape me. Buckle up, because I know you're going to want to tell me to shut up.
Shut up, Chanel! Shut up, Chanel! Chanel, shut up! Shut up, shut up, shut up, Chanel! Shut up, Chanel! Shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up, Chanel! Shut up, shut up, shut up, Chanel! No, love for laces, does he know whose house he's in? He does not.
All right, guys. Her energy is infectious. With a tongue as sharp as her contour, she's the reigning monarch of one-liners and the unchallenged commander of charisma. If laughter were a currency, TS Madison would be the richest queen in the kingdom, and her crown would be bedazzled with rhinestones of pure wit. She is an American reality television personality, an actress, an LGBT activist. As the host of the TS Madison Experience, she's become the first Black trans woman to star in and executive produce her own reality series. She also became a fixture on the judges panel of everyone's favorite show, Drag Race. I truly believe that she walks so many girls in the community could run. And we just got to work together at the Marco 20th anniversary show in New York City. Welcome to the stage. She is a true LGBT icon. I had the pleasure of meeting you so long ago, and we're going to dive into it, but her energy is infectious. And with a tongue as sharp as her contour, she's the reigning monarch of one-liners and the unchallenged commander of charisma. Please welcome to the stage, TS Madison.
Shut up, Chanel! Shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up! Hi, Chanel.
Hi, TS. How are you?
Look, like, I want people to really understand. Like, I don't think that they understand how far you've known me. Like, you've known me back when I was like really in my beginning stages of like really trying to, cross over. And I was like really crossing over into pop, being influential to pop culture. You are always the queen of the social scene. You have that gorgeous mug. Honey, the nightclubs bowed down when you came in, girl. You always wore a nasty fucking shoe. Girl.
I literally, okay, so when I started this podcast, I was like, I'm going to go through my LGBT journey and talk to all the people I met along the way. And I was having all these episodes where I was like going back and talking about my time at Avita. And that's like kind of how because I always ask in the beginning of this podcast, how did we meet? And you gave a great introduction to it. Do you remember how we actually met? Like, do you remember the story?
I kind of remember because it's been over a decade. It's been over 10 years.
I know people.
You haven't aged a day.
Honestly, I think me and you both look better.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, we look good, but I mean that we still haven't aged yet.
We look the exact same age.
The same age. But here's the thing, like I remember it was New Wave 22 inches. Yeah. I mean, I remember that was like one of my breakout vines of me being naked and all that type of stuff, whatever. And here's the thing. I really didn't want the queer community or the LGBTQIA community to really just want to know me for me being, naked. Because I'm so much more than just being naked. I really wanted people to know me for I'm funny. And not just funny, I'm also funny and I make statements. I'm deeply invested in the community for our people, queer people, from all colors, all races, all gender. Like I'm for our people, And so I've always been an unorthodox type girl. Like you said, my tongue is sharp as my contour, honey. But it's always be for our people, Now, Chanel, you know what I've never asked you?
Ask me.
Are you queer?
I am, but I identify as pansexual.
Oh, okay. So what would one have to do to be pansexual? What would one have to do?
Okay, so I'll kind of tell you how. So for a while, I just identified as straight because I don't know. It really, I never crossed my mind because I never wanted to date women. Like nothing in my head was like, but I was attracted to women. And I remember in the beginning of my journey being like attracted to some drag queens. Like I used to think Detox was so hot. You know what I mean? And then I had like my first crush on a trans boy who I honestly was also attracted to before they were a trans boy. So that's when I started to be like, wait a minute, like maybe, and then I started, learning about pansexuality, and it's like more of like you're just attracted to like the person and not the body parts. And that made sense to me. And I was like, I'm really attracted. I'm attracted to someone's swag, to their energy. And it took me a long time to figure that out. And I wouldn't have figured it out had I not, started hanging out with everyone that I started hanging out with.
So before, because me, like here's what's so crazy. You're gonna laugh.
Okay.
I identify as a heterosexual transsexual.
Okay.
Meaning I operate in the guise of heterosexuality because I identify or as a trans woman, but here's the thing. I don't identify as a female, and I really don't identify as a full-fledged like woman. I identify as a trans woman because I like being trans. I like being trans. I like being able to say I got titties at the top and a dick at the bottom. I like that. I like that. Like that's
yeah.
And I'm happy in that space. But I've come to find out that I am extremely attracted to masculinity.
Okay.
And I think that masculinity doesn't necessarily have to live in a bio man.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like it's not the body. It's like it's the aura. It's the swag. It's the masculinity of it all. But now this is where I get so confused because it's like I know what I like romantically. Like I love the relationship of like of masculinity and me being like the woman. You know what I mean? Like I love that. And especially because I'm so dominating in all other aspects of my life. Like, I'm a producer, like I'm a hustler, like, when it comes to like romance, like I like to take the back seat and I like to be produced. You know what I mean?
So you embody the divine feminine.
Mm-hmm.
And you want your partner to embody the divine masculine.
I would think so. I'm still learning because that's the thing. I think also it's like hard being like, I know that I like romantic relationships with men, but then I also find women attractive, and I find trans people attractive, and I find, so it's all a big confusion for me.
Okay. So I've always had this question that I never asked you.
Okay.
Because when I first met you, you were like and you still are, not were, but when I met you, you were what you are now, you were already. It's expanded and it's become like a whole different, it's went into a whole different higher trajectory. But when I met you, you were already like you're a figure. And so how did that, like, I know you're interviewing me, but these are things that I never had the opportunity to ask you. Like, I just moved in the space of like, this is who you were. How did you get into the scene?
Honestly, RuPaul's Drag Race. And that's what I love about these interviews is like I have tons of questions that I've never gotten to ask you before. You know what I mean? But yeah, I just graduated from I went to FITM in LA, and that's what brought me to LA. The recession hit. My listeners are going to laugh because I talk about this recession in 2006 every fucking episode. The recession hit and there was no fashion jobs in LA. I was a personal assistant for these two men that like were hustlers. They like produced parties in LA. And so like they kind of like trained me for being great on set, but they had no money to pay me anymore. And I went to this one dinner one night and the girl was like, I feel like you would be great, like helpful on set. And she's like, I'm also doing this show with drag queens, and for some reason I feel like you would be good with them. And I was like, really? And she was like, yeah. And I was like, I'm down. And I knew who RuPaul was because my parents were fucking cool and like, you know, but like I didn't really, and I think I used to like stay up late and watch the RuPaul show when I was little. But yeah, I had no idea. And I got my job as a PA. I started out as a PA on the show, where I was just like cleaning up and like bringing drag queens like sodas and stuff. And that's like where it all began, because that's where I started meeting all the drag queens. And then the drag queens loved me and they were like, oh my God, this girl's like good at wrangling them. So then they kind of just like kept bringing me along. And so I started on Drag Race and Drag U, and then I became like a talent producer on the show. And then I got into casting. And then I got really close with like it wasn't even, it all happened so fast. Like because I became friends with like the top girls, everyone started to know who I was. And Raja was bringing me out and introducing me, and I couldn't go to Mickey's without them like calling me out on stage. And it kind of got like too big for even me to handle. And then it was like this tightrope with Drag Race, because I didn't know, like, you know, it's a competition show. Like, you probably can't be best friends with like all the queens in the nation. You know what I mean? So I ended up leaving Drag Race, but like then I was already a fixture, you know? And then when I started hosting parties in West Hollywood, that's when it really, and that's how I met you, because I had started hosting Avita, which was like first of its like in LA, like there wasn't like a cool party for a while, like where every drag queen went, and the show, it was just all the timing, because it was like the show had just started getting popular. I knew all these queens, so I was inviting them out to the nightclub every night. So like the club was getting like free, you know, free Rue girls.
Liquor that's not expensive. This is Burnett's Tropical. Just a splash of this for the night.
And then they started giving me a little bit more power and were like, if you ever want to book anyone for Avita, let us know. And your video went viral. And I was like, why? We need to get this girl at Avita. And I'll never forget, I think I like messaged you on Vine or Facebook or something, because I don't even think Instagram was a thing.
It wasn't a thing. It was like Facebook or Vine or something. It was, you know.
Which is so funny, because even booking this interview today, I think like Trent from the beginning, like I think that's even who I talked to back then. Like he's been with you since the beginning, huh?
No, it was Gio.
Gio.
Trent has been with me, but he hasn't been like the position he is now.
Yeah.
But it was Gio back then. Like I think you and Gio had a conversation or whatever, you know, even though we, you know, I'm not gonna bash him on this thing, because you know, I'm just gonna be like,
yeah, you outgrew each other.
Yeah, we out that, yes. Creative differences.
Creative differences. Yeah, I'm glad that you asked me that, because it is like a valid question. Like, where the fuck did you come from?
When you meet people, like I met you and like you were petite, you were dressed to the nines, you had on a nasty pair of shoes. I was like, this bitch got some small feet. And then she put on these heels. You had on a nasty pair of heels. You giving hair. Like, it's just what you give now, but it was just like,
and that was a lot. This was like I was like 25 years old when you met me. I was a baby who just got like thrown into this gay world. And yeah, and like all the queens would dress me. Like you met me as like, it was like my post Drag Race. Cause like when I started on Drag Race, girl, I had a bob with bangs, no tits. I wore this awful black crease. Like I was a mess. And the queens got me together. And I know those exact shoes you're talking about. Weren't they like hot pink booties?
Girl, they were some badass shoes. But girl, when I met you, like when I got a chance to see the Chanel, like I didn't see the Chanel post this. I saw the Chanel, like, you know, and like it was around time, like Chanel, she's the girl, like this is the girl. Like they throw the parties at Evita, girl Chanel Perrillo, Chanel Perrillo, Chanel Perrillo. I was like, okay, so I'm new to all of this stuff. And then when meeting you, it was just like, yes, I'm Chanel Perrillo. Like, how girls be like the it girls, like you gave very it girl. You know what I'm saying? And for you to tell me, like, well, I don't know, like, well, that's not how I had humble beginnings. I would have never believed that because when I came into your presence, you were an it girl already and running the things. I was like, okay, bitch, okay.
Well, like you said, it's like always in you. Just like I'm sure, because I want to get to that, what you were like as a kid. But it's like there's something that's in you, like that sometimes people bring it out of you too. And I think that was when I found the queer community. That's when I was like, this is what's been missing from my life. Like now, yeah, now it makes sense why I was like a weirdo and like, like I always felt like I never fit in, but I should have. I was every reason that I should have fit in, like a freaking, straight white girl in San Diego. But for some reason, I always felt like an outsider. And until I came to West Hollywood and like found my tribe, did I really feel like I was like seen, you know?
Yes, and we saw you.
And you
So
saw me.
I'm dying to know what you got to ask me.
Oh my God. Well, one, and I also think it's so, and to the listeners, it's so full circle because I got to cast TS in the Marco show we just did in New York.
Yes, it was
Fashion Week.
amazing. God, it was amazing. And I've always watched the Marco show. And I was like, I want to be on the Marco show. And all the girls are there. I watched it. It was amazing. Marco, I love him. He was amazing. You guys
He loved you.
He was amazing. You guys treated me so well. Like my accommodations, everything was like to the dot. Like y'all took care of me like immensely. And I appreciate that because in this business, people will know that you have had what your beginnings were. And I've grown so much since New Wave 22 inches. I've become like a global icon, from working with so many huge names all the way up to Beyonce. You know what I'm saying?
I saw it on Instagram.
Oh, yes, girl. And so sometimes people don't notice growth. That's why I had to acknowledge. That's why in the opening of this, I had to acknowledge. I don't know what they've seen, but you always was the bitch. So I don't know what they have seen or what you tell me you come from. When I met you, you were the bitch. That's just what it was. Now the other girls, maybe Raj and them probably could be like, well, I knew her before. When I walked in the door, I met the bitch. Now you are the bitch. That's what it is, And so that's a good thing. And like when people meet me, sometimes they met me on my rise to becoming the bitch. Which now I'm the bitch. So you gotta respect me as such because I put in the time, the work, the energy. And you guys took care of my accommodations. You just took care of me so well. And I just want to say I appreciate that because there are times that I have to tell a motherfucker, hey, I'm not that girl that was 22 inches, bitch. I've made my money off that. I moved on to other things. I'm another type of girl,
Mm-hmm. I always, and I think it just probably even comes from like getting my talent producer start was like, I love to make people feel seen and heard and taken care of, and especially when they're working for you. And I think in the industry that falls short a lot of the time.
All the time. It does.
Did you expect to be where you are right now?
In all honesty, Chanel, I will keep this as transparent as this water in this glass.
Perfect. Is that water?
Vodka. I'll keep it transparent. I knew I had a vision that I was going to be something. I always wanted to be, how when they ask you in school, what do you want to be when you grow up? I wanted to be a teacher, a scientist, a doctor, a lawyer. Those were the things I wanted to be. When I look over my life now, those were too small. And it was too small for me to just be one thing. I feel that now God has put me in a place where I'm walking in my purpose. And even I'm still growing in the trajectory that he wants me to go on. He, she, the universe, whatever. Mm-hmm. Wants me to go on. And I think that I'm a doctor. I heal the people with laughter. I am a lawyer. I advocate for my community. I am a scientist because, honey, ain't no way that you could have titties at the top and dick at the bottom and be this fab. I am a teacher because I minister to my community of people on where my life was and how it has changed and the mistakes and all the stuff that I found. So I feel that all the things that I dreamed or when I was a kid that I wanted to do, God made me an entertainer and a star and said, you're going to be all of these things. And you're going to be all of these things with divine purpose. I if I had the opportunity to do certain things over again, or if I had the chance to see the future fully before where I am now, there's certain things that I probably wouldn't have done or I wouldn't have gotten involved with. But I do think that when your life is ordered or your steps are ordained or ordered the way they're supposed to go, you're not supposed to see that because it would probably deter you from your direction. Had you known that you were going to be Chanel Perrillo, the woman that you are now, maybe in a retrospect, you would have already had those sickening heels that I met you in on. But what the creator or the divine decided to do was put you in these places so that you can tell your audience this story. Like I started out at Drag Race, I had a bob and I didn't have my lives together. You know, I met the queens, you know, and I think that everything that we do when we're people of importance and we occupy spaces, we are on a divine, you know, place or a divine mission. I do feel like that's what we are. Even down to the rants that I've had that have made my tongue so sharp have been divinely placed.
Has your tongue always been that sharp?
Oh, honey, listen, I was a fag. So I grew up having to defend myself. And one thing a queen is going to do, we're going to have to, you got to defend yourself. And I come from a house, from a place of the church. I grew up in the church. So, you know, I had to be sharp tongued and I had to fight, you know, growing up in Miami, you know, that's a melting pot for all different types of religions and, you know, ethnicities that come to Miami and they come, you know, and I'm a gay. So, you know, it's like some people come from their country like hating gays. So I had to be quick, like, bitch, get off of me. You know, like that was my defense mechanism. Like, hey, you know? So I had to learn that. And I learned that by altercation.
Like protection. It's a protection. It's a tool. It's a tool. And I don't think I mean, I'm sure a lot of people know, but there's probably some people that just think queens are like quick-witted, like naturally. It's like a developed like coping mechanism.
Yeah. And it's like, it's crazy because what people don't understand is it's like, I don't necessarily go into the ring. That's not what I want to do. But if you put me in the ring, let's do it. You know, and so I don't go in there. Like I really don't like, I honestly should I really don't like that. Like I really want people to love me. I'm a Libra. You know,
I'm not a Libra, but I'm a Leo, and Leos love Libras.
I'm a Libra. I want you to love me. I want to be friends with you. I want to hug and kiss you. I love on you. Hey, baby, you know, I don't want to have altercations with you. But I'm a Libra Scorpio.
Oh,
My birthday's October the 22nd. I'm the last day of Libra. First day of Scorpio. So you know that means
don't mess with you.
I'm ready for war. You know.
You said you grew up in the church. I wanted you to take me back. Like I don't. Where did you grow up, and what kind of family did you have growing up?
I grew up in the church. I grew up in the Baptist church. I'm non-denominational now because I feel like that the Lord shouldn't be restricted to just this thing. So I'm like non-denominational. Like when I go home to Miami, I go to a church called Miami Vineyard, and in Miami Vineyard, I don't think it is Baptist. I don't know what it is. I know it's non-denominational. So, you know, I go to church, I could wear this dress, I could wear this hair, these earrings. There's not like rules and restrictions. I go there to fellowship, listen to stuff about God and, you know, because I love God. But I grew up in a church, Baptist, and, you know, you always hear in church, gays are going to hell, and you always hear how your life is going to end, and you never really focus on how to really enjoy your life because you're so afraid to live your life, because your life, the life that you know that's destined for you, puts you in hell.
Mm-hmm.
It puts you in
The constant worry.
And so my mother wasn't necessarily like a woman that was hard on me about, because I don't think that she really paid attention. I think she was really trying to get herself together with God. But she wasn't necessarily hard on me about me being gay or whatever, but she was very much so like, you know, that's what the Bible says. You know, when people say what the Bible says, everybody's like, well, the Bible says this, the Bible says that, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna say I don't believe in the Bible.
Yeah, you heard it here. TS believes in the Bible.
I believe in
She doesn't not believe the Bible.
but I have questions.
Yeah. That was me. I had to go to Catholic church class, and I was like that bitch asking every question.
I have a question.
Like, this don't make sense. They would get so mad at me. But I was like, do you want me to be a believer? Like, answer these questions.
I have questions because it's like there's something that's not adding. Because I'm reading this, it's not adding, or this is happening, this is not going on, or they're like, what's going on? Or,
Yeah, I'm like, is this a meta? Like, can you just tell us that these are like metaphors for things? Because that I could get behind.
oh, okay, got it. But girl, don't stop moving on.
So you grew up in the church. Your mom was like, wasn't necessarily hard on you, but it was rough.
Yeah, it was, especially when I really came into being. Came into being, and I came into being at an early age here first, because people always talk about transitioning and how important because you can transition on the outside, but if your mind isn't there, it's not gonna match. And
Mm-hmm.
here's why I feel like that we have such a problem with Caitlyn Jenner, because the transition didn't start here. The transition, she may have thought that this is what she wanted to do, but the transition was more focused outwardly.
Mm-hmm.
Because her views and her values and the way that she thinks about her own community is scary. It's crazy because I used to sit and watch her when in the beginning, and I used to be like, I wonder what it would have been like for me to have went through my life as a man, like majority of my life as a man,
Mm-hmm.
and then get at a grown older age, and then be like, well, this is what I've been all along. I've been a woman, and then continuously think like a privileged man.
Yeah, like a awful Republican. Like how, like that, like no one sent you here to be a trans woman for the Republican Party. Like,
Like who did that?
who wants that? There's already enough haters. Like, it's so mind-boggling to me. It really is. It's like mind-boggling to me.
Yes. And so this is why, I started this in the young process, and then I really dove deep into the transition on the outside around about 17, 18, 19. And I'm 46 now.
So that was like right after high school, like senior year. Yeah, because you're in October. You're an October birthday. So yeah. So right after high school.
Yeah, I was so waiting to do it, like to get out and just blossom. And then, this stuff happened. I got out into the world, and I thought that the world was going to be accepting to it. And it was not, shit, I'm 46. So 30 years ago, that was different. Like 15, 16, 17, like this is 28, 27. Like this is 30 years ago.
Like you weren't safe. You weren't safe.
No, and I mean, even people think that we're not safe now. We're in a safer places. Well, it's nothing like it was before, but we still are in danger.
For sure.
You know, you work in these places, and I got fired from a lot of jobs, Chanel, and I just wanted to work. I never wanted to, I honestly never ever wanted to be involved in the sex work business. I didn't want to do that. Like, because of course I came from a Christian home with, with Christian values and stuff like that, so I didn't want to be an adult, do anything in adult film. I didn't want to be naked. I didn't want people to see me naked. Like, I was like, I'm very having Libra energy, and then Scorpio is a very private people, I didn't want to do that. Like, I didn't want to be doing that. And so when people talk about you are a porn star and you are naked and you did, yes, but what you don't understand is that I was forced into doing that. Like, that was something that I was forced into doing. I wanted to work in society, but I wanted to live as a woman.
Survival. I could like speak so long about that. No, it's like survival. Like thinking that I mean, yes, there are women that maybe they do want that, maybe that is the dream, maybe it is, they looked up to another porn star and are like, I want to do that, and I'm sure, there are those stories, but like majority of the time it's survival. It's so that you could still live authentically, but like be able to live.
Not brought in them goddamn motherfucking records and see if you was at the baby chop shop. Now I told you to bring your medical records in, and you have refused to bring them records in. But what we did find was your childhood, psychiatric report. Is that the word?
Well, we did.
Your book, bitch, because you wrote it and you told it that you've been playing with your pussy, masturbating since you was 5 years old, bitch. So I already know that some of them children at the children's chop shop graveyard is yours. So I'm going to subpoena your jaws to come into my courtroom too, because bitch, I'm going to swab your mouth. And if any of your DNA match them children down there at the...
Yes. And like every job that I was going on was just like, are you a man? Take those women's clothing off. Like, you can't come in here with that. Like, and every job that I would go on, and every time that I would have like that I would think that I've gotten to a place where then the money wasn't good. Do you remember? Well, I'm older than you, because I'm like, would you remember? I remember minimum wage was $4.75 an hour.
I was in high school and like from 2000 to 2004, and I remember it being, I worked at Dairy Queen was my first job, and it was
very low. Like, I remember minimum wage when my first job, I made $4.15 an hour minimum wage. And to $4.15 an hour, 8 hours a day, that's like $32 and something.
And were you able to be your true self at work, or did you have to like tone yourself down?
Oh, honey, you're fired. Don't come in here with, why do you have on lipstick in here? You're confusing the people. Why do you want to wear this? You're a man. Be a man. Be a man. And so it's just like, bro, what the fuck? Like, and then you got to be a man. You can't live in the house with your parents, because it's just like, be a man. You can't work in society. Be a man. So, where I could be a woman? On the streets.
Exactly. Yeah, it probably felt safer, because you at least know that like you're offering a service that you're going to get paid for and that the person wants, and it's like it's safer than probably like going to your normal job.
Yeah, because these people coming to get me, honey, because this is what they want. At the job, it's just like, bitch, and they probably listen. And even when I started walking the streets and doing street work, being a street walker and shit like that, and I was moonlighting as a man during working hours, I would be like, a gal would be like, hey, I know you.
Oh my God. Wait, so where were you working at in the day, and where were you walking at night? Where is this, Miami?
Yeah, I lived in Miami. I used to work 79th Street. I worked from call centers, like AT&T call centers. I worked for Track Phone. I've worked for group homes, like working with the elderly, working with the cerebral palsy people. I've worked everywhere, like every fucking where. But when I worked in those call centers, because I had a lot of call center jobs, those call center jobs, they would hire anybody. And then you working at the call center, and those men are like, I know you. I'm like, what? I know you.
And
Like
ever
I know you too.
do you remember the first time that you made money
Yeah,
for sex work?
I do. I remember the very first night I worked on the beach, and I remember me making my first $40. And I was so afraid. I was more so embarrassed. And I was embarrassed because I had lost my job because they told me that I couldn't come to work like dressed as a woman. And I'm like, but I'm not dressed.
That like
Like when you want me to put on these other clothes, I'm in drag.
like that
I,
feels weird to
yeah.
me.
And so I got fired. And I remember my first night working on the beat because I was like, honey, it's either the light bill, it's either the rent or whatever, because nobody's just going to be around here giving me money. And I'm not going to expect anyone to take care of me, because of my decisions to live my authentic self. And I remember the first 40 I made, I was so embarrassed. Of course, I was a fag, so I knew how to suck dick. That was just natural. So I knew how to suck dick, So that was nothing, but it's just like,
Ah.
but to take money for it and then have to stand there and like these on the street, cars riding by, the whore clothes, and people taunting you. You're still get off here, you man, you're a man. But then, in other words, men putting up, hey, baby, what's up? I got money for you. Hey, it was fear and shame and shit all at the same time. And I remember my first client was a guy. He was so nice. I loved him. I loved him. He was my first client. I wrote about it in my memoir, which is going to be adapted to some film that I can loosely talk about. Loosely.
Oh my god, I want to work on it.
Yes, yes. I really liked him a lot. I really had a loving for him because it was my first date. He took me around this building and gave me $40. I sucked his dick in the car, and he was like, "No, I got some more money. I was young then. Like shit, I was in my 20s." He was like, "I want to fuck you." So I was like, "Oh my god, like how do I even do this? Like I'm on the street." So he took me to this back of this place or whatever. He gave me like $20 more or $40 more. I can't remember, girl. I got to read my book to go back and be like, well, which one? Because I'm getting old now. And so, and I've seen lots of money. And, we went back there, whatever. Anyway, we were doing our thing, whatever. And then I was like, you're not worried about the police? He was like, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Anyway, make a long story short, he ended up being the police.
He was a cop? Which is why he probably knew where to go because people, which is it. Oh my god, I remember the series, the documentary on HBO.
Veneno.
The Stroll, but I fucking loved. I watched Veneno twice. I watched it in Spanish and English.
Yes.
Veneno was so good. But have you seen The Stroll?
I haven't watched The Stroll yet. I'm going to watch it.
So fucking good. So fucking good. It's so fucking good. But no, like I mean, it's just something that I've always been fascinated by because I think that I've always been pro sex work because I'm like, how like blind do you have to be to think like people like are like choosing to street walk? Like, you know what I mean? Like it is a survival and there was a sense of community in it. I learned from the documentary as well as like you probably made sisters
My
walking.
sisters, my girls, it was our group, our clique. It was fuck them hoes over there, bitch this us over here, So it was that. Like it was a lot of a lot of that, And so I learned a lot. It made me, to be honest with you, it made my tongue sharper because I had to deal with the bitches on the street. It made me sharper in my senses because I had to always be on my toes. in the aspect of who's trying to get me.
It's like hypervigilance. It's like you're like it's like survival.
It's like your head on a swivel.
Which makes you probably now such like more of an empath or more empathetic. Like you could feel people's emotions more when you've had to like survive like that. For sure.
And it also, thought I'm about to admit something that may or may not be true, but it also makes you pick up some narcissistic traits too.
Mm-hmm.
I think that a lot of times people being narcissistic people are all bad because a lot of times they are, but a lot of times these people are narcissistic because they have to be self-absorbed. It has to be because it's about you gotta protect self.
Mm-hmm. I always wondered why it was like I've never admitted this before on the podcast yet, which is crazy, and I could say it now since my dad has since passed, but I was in the witness protection when I was little. And we got pulled to, that's what brought me to San Diego. Like I was raised by a Brooklyn dad, South Philly mom. Yeah, and that just now as an adult, like I'm learning in therapy, like that's probably where a lot of my like survival tactics, survivor coping skills came from, was from that shit from when I was little, you know?
Yes.
And my dad struggled with drug abuse. And so I always kind of had to be, always had to be alert. Like what's today going to be like? You know what I mean?
Yeah, what the fuck is happening? Like, what's up? And like, you got your trust guards up. You got your, you know what I'm saying? And then you got your need for people where you become like codependent on people who give you senses of security or senses of, security and being safe. Like you start depending on them, you know what I'm saying? And you started absorbing them like you need this for you in order to survive. So if there are fragments of narcissistic traits about me or narcissism in me, it is, I don't mean it.
Exactly. No, like it's just like, it's the way that you cope with life.
I don't mean it. I don't.
You don't mean it. No, everyone needs a little bit of narcissist in them. If they want to be successful, you know, if you want to build a brand for yourself, which you have, how did it go from working and hustling? And might I tell you that I think that you walked so a lot of women in the community could run.
Yes.
Like you were the original OnlyFans girl.
The original when it was a .com, honey. So it was that. I was the original.
Dial up internet.
.com, bitch. Big dick bitch.com. You know, I was the original that. So it's that, and then it's that's why there are lots of things that happen, and I'm an original transitioning out of these things, like, because nobody's seen it done before. Like, you don't see a bitch go from notoriously being naked to Beyonce. You don't see that happen. And the only way that you'll ever see that happen again and again is if you don't run from it. You own it. And you explain to people that this isn't something that you chose. You were forced to do this. I was forced to do this. It was either this or die.
And you were still putting your life on the line every time, every gentleman you went to.
Every night, everything I could have been, my throat could have been, nobody cares about no fucking street walking prostitute trans bitch. Who cares about that?
I do.
I know, but you know.
I know.
In the grand scheme of it, like who cares? Who cares about that?
No, just a number. And 10 years ago, I mean, 20, 30 years ago, like it was like the toxic masculinity that was in this like nation was like uncharted, where it was like anything that a man did feminine was looked at disgusting, or anything that a trans woman did was like, you weren't even looked at as human.
Right.
And
I
so
mean,
what did society want you to do? That's how I feel even about like oppressed cities and stuff when there's crime and stuff and drug dealing. Like how else do you want people to make money?
Y'all hoes sleep. Well, bitch, if you are, get up, let a bitch fix you some of this chai tea right here, girl, because it's hot.
Like,
you think they're just gonna get up there and fill out an application and you're gonna pay them $4.15 fucking cent an hour? $4.75, hey, hell, we're up now. We're minimum wage is what is it? $15, $10? I don't know. I ain't worked for myself since I was 25, girl.
yeah, and to like I just remember being a little girl and like and that's the thing. It's like almost like taught. Like it's like I remember like wondering, like, do sex workers like do they like sex that much? You know what I mean? Which I think was probably like a lot of fucking people's thought, but like uneducated people's thought is, yeah, like, oh, like, you know, a sex worker must just love sex. And it's like, no, bitch.
It was mine. You know, it was mine. I remember like when I used to go out to the pageants and stuff like that when I was, you know, in and out, like I would have to dress and drag at night and or whatever, and then live as me in the day slightly, and going out to some of the drag pageants and, you know, Miss Universe, Miss Continental, Miss this, Miss that, Miss US of A, Miss Gay. Like, this is why I'm a judge on Drag Race, because I know these things. Bitch, I did these, you know, I've been there when the pageants were the pageants, when the drag shows were the drag shows. So, you know, I'm going out to these things or whatever, you know, and I knew some of the drag girls were sex workers, and then some of the girls who were trans and not drag, who were trans, they were all prostitutes. And so they would leave the show, they would leave the drag shows, or they would leave the pageant, and they would go work on the block. And I used to judge them and be like, ew, you nasty bitches out there want to suck dick for a living, you know, and ended up being the most notorious.
You were like, but let me show you.
I was like,
wait,
well,
so this is when, so you were so are you saying you were attending the pageants as
no, as me, as a girl,
oh, okay.
As a girl, I was going to the pageants and stuff as a girl, but I had to work during the day, but I didn't want to take my shit off to go to work. Because I was going to work in drag, like as a boy.
So is that kind of where you were like, this is what I'm going to do now? Because you had seen it? Like you had seen other girls make money doing it and you were like, well, I could do this and I'll do it better?
It was because I started going to work. I started saying, fuck it. Going to work in my get up. And it was like, who the fuck are you? Who is this coming in here? You know, and it's just like, well, I got to cut this. I'm coming to work. Honey, you got to leave this job. You're confusing the coworkers. What bathroom are you going to use? Like, no, like, you know, you're causing a commotion here coming to work. And so it was just like, well, you got to find either you take that off or you got to find you another job. And it's like, well, I'm on hormones. So like, I don't know how I'm going to hide a titties, and I'm getting silicone shots in my ass and hips. So I don't know how I'm going to fit this in some cargo pants or some work pants. Like, bitch, I don't know how to.
Yeah. And what fucking bathroom do you think I should be in? Like, come on. Like,
bruh, you should be scared of me going in the bathroom with you motherfuckers now.
Exactly. Oh my God. I never knew any of that about you. And I really was like so curious because I just knew you as social media presence. And of course, like I got, you know, like word through the grapevine, like, no, TS was like huge, like a huge porn star before Vine and all this stuff. And so you went from the streets to creating a website?
BigDickBitch.com. And I moved to Atlanta. I had nothing. I was homeless. I met a girl. Like I met another trans girl who was like, girl, why would you work hard when you can work smart? And I happen to be somewhat of a well-endowed girl. I do have a lot of capabilities, I would say, and blessings in my panties. capabilities and blessings in my panties.
Capabilities maxed.
Capabilities and blessings in my panties. And so my girlfriend was like, girl, why do you work hard when you can work motherfucking smart? And she said, because I was looking at this bitch like, girl, well, why do you do? She had a nice house. She drove a fucking Lexus. She had men were calling her phone and we were eating steak and lobster all the time. I'm like, what the fuck do you do, bitch?
I think that shit all the time. But that's what you have to, you find someone that has the life that you want and you ask them how they got there.
How do you do this?
I'm still trying to figure that out, but we'll get there. We'll get there. So she helped you come up with the idea.
She did. Well, she sat me on the floor and she told me, she says, well, I have a website and her name is TS. God called her home in 2017. And I mean, it was a big loss for me.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay, because you know why? When I look at it, she's my guardian angel. So I have a mission to do here. And she had to go and fight for me in the spirit. Because the Bible says, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against the principalities and darkness of things that are unseen. And because we can't see those things, we need our spiritual soldiers to be fighting those things, those spiritual dark forces that are around us that we can't see. And so that's my soldier. So it hurts here in the natural because I'm still amongst the flesh, but I know in the spirit that she's battling for me. You know what I'm saying?
I totally do.
That's the way I feel now. That's the way I'm. It's not easy, but that's the way I'm coping with death now, with death and people that you're so close to that leave you behind. Like, you got more mission to do, and they were your foot soldiers here, but they're your soldiers in the spirit.
Mm-hmm.
So I love her, and she put me on, and when she put me on, we became the best of friends. And then I started. See, all you got to do with me, you give me the glass, I'll fill it up.
I love that.
You give me the glass, honey, I'll fill it up. And she gave me the glass, and she was like, if you want a drink, fill it up. That's what I did. And I turned that little thing that she taught me how to do into an empire. And I turned it into an empire so viciously that she was so impressed. And she said, I'm so proud of you. And then for her to get to a moment to watch me transition out of what she had
helped
me and taught me into becoming a global phenomenon in my own right, was like, yeah, that's my daughter.
Oh, that's a great story.
That's the way I feel it. Like, I feel that. Like yeah, that's my daughter.
And then, oh my God. And then 22 inches took you to the next level.
22 motherfucking inches, honey. 6 seconds changed my whole entire life. It changed my life. Like, if I had the chance to do it all again, it changed my life. And when it changed my life, I tell people all the time that, you have to have a goal. And my goal was, I was not going to know. I never wanted to be in sex work. So any area for me to get out, I was going to hit the ground running.
And let me tell you something. I didn't ever know that I was going to meet you guys. You, Rue, any of the people that came into my life. Right. I was watching TV. I'm telling you, I watched TV and I said, one day.
I love that.
And when the time came for me to be able to do that, and it was just like, but I took it all in, and
but you know what that is? That's manifestation.
Yes.
And those 6 seconds it didn't even give me shoes. It gave me road. I had to put the shoes on. It gave me road. It gave me a small path. And then when I got that path, it was like, run, bitch, run, Forrest, run.
Janny, oh my God, I love Forrest Gump so much.
Run, Forrest?
Well, I mean, it was gonna happen. That's the thing. Like, and it wasn't even like the world. Like, I knew that everyone was obsessed with that video, but it was just like, you have that star quality. And I'm a casting director now, like, and I wasn't even an official, like, casting director then. Like, I saw it in you, and I was like, and I just knew. And I think you ended up coming, I think we did like 2 Evitas. Because I've got like multiple pictures. I've got a couple going through my old Evita photos. You definitely.
Oh, Chanel, we did Evita. We did a music video together when we did. It was New Weave 22 inches. Y'all changed Evita and went to this other place when I was with this record company called Pink Money Records.
Oh my God, I forgot that. Wasn't I in the video?
In the video. It never came out because, you know, we had some little discrepancies with the damn record company, but it was us, it was me, you, Shanda, like it was all of us. Like it was
Alyssa Edwards. I have that picture of that night. I have to find it.
All of us, girl. Like we were that night. We were
Detox was there. So,
girl, we were
living. That's when
fucking lit that night. It was, but y'all had moved Evita to a different space.
Yeah, in Hollywood. I remember that venue.
Yeah, we moved it to a different space. It was like crazy. Like we all had a good fun. We had a good time that night. I think it was, whose birthday was it?
It was someone's birthday because I know the picture. It's like Alyssa Edwards, Shangela, Detox, me, you. There's Adore Delano's in the video.
Adore, yes. Right, whose birthday? It was somebody's birthday. Was it Shangela's birthday?
It might have been.
What you said was TS Madison is a slept on, undiscovered star that y'all are missing out on.
Yes!
And after that article, nothing happened.
No. That is my effect on the world.
I wanted to always tell you, even though you've read me down to the floor, you've told me that I was fat, you said that I need a mint, you know, all the things that you do, I've loved every moment of it.
Let me take one of those back. I did not really mean to say you need a mint. You need a bag of mint, bitch.
We need a reunion. It has been so fucking long. We need like a good, solid night out for sure.
We need a good. So they don't even do Evita no more, do they?
So Andres, Regal, and Hollywood, it became like this huge thing. But they're on a break right now. But for the before COVID and up until like this year, like it became like every Drag Race girl does it now. Like it became like bigger than I could have imagined it would have become. Like it's like, but yeah, we gotta do it.
Reunion party.
The OG Evita.
The OG Evita reunion party. Like back when the girls Morgan McMichaels, like girl from back, like all the girls back, like all the back girls.
How did you know all the queens? So did you know the queens from like the pageant system and stuff? Like I knew
a lot of the queens from the pageant system, especially the girls from Florida. Like the Florida girls, I knew them. Girl, I knew Sasha Colby back because we watched Sasha Colby, but I didn't know her personally, but I've watched her grow as a girl. You know what I'm saying? Watching pageant tapes, watching her, watching all the Colbys, watching the Davenport. I knew Kennedy Davenport back when Kennedy was like first started. I knew Kennedy Davenport like back when she was running. Like all the girls that have drag race that are pageant girls, like we watched them on tape. Those girls that won Continental, Marks, like all the girls. Like I am a fag girl. I am a fag girl from back that was a young boy watching these girls blossom into women, to trans women, to entertainers, you know what I'm saying? And to watch Drag Race become the phenomenon that it is and launching these girls' career. And here's the thing, Sasha Colby had already won Continental. Yeah. So for me to sit there and judge her it was an amazing thing for me because I've watched her compete in pageants.
Yeah, you watched her grow up.
Yeah, I watched her grow up. And so with me watching her grow up and then me sitting on the Drag Race panel, being able to judge her season and just give her flowers and her tears and to tell her how proud I was for her as a trans woman to see her win Continental and then come to this space and then like make it a surreal moment for me to judge her. And we had that moment. I was like, sister, girl. And to see her in this space now, reigning. She reigned as Continental, but reigning on a platform. Not to say that Continental, because Continental was our Drag Race.
Exactly. No, when I first started hanging out with the girls, they were like, you have to watch these old pageant videos.
Continental, and it was Continental.
Mm-hmm.
Baby Miss Continental was our Drag Race. And to watch Continental, and then to see how Drag Race has taken our community that we're in and mainstreamed us to where we're stars, global superstars, all stars, like, and we're queer people in a world that told us that all that we were going to be were cum buckets, we were going to be dead of AIDS, we were going to be murdered, you know what I'm saying? And to see us propel in this world as stars, you know, and for me to be able to judge that and just, that's why I'm not a bad judge. Like, I don't be on there trying to tear the girls down or whatever. I want to be there like, that you're giving it. I live. That's just sickening. I wanted you to do better. I feel that you could have did better in this, whatever. But know that you are, bitch, know where we were and where you are now and how you are a step for visual girls for the future. And I get the opportunity to sit there and be a part of that. It just makes me feel, it's like you don't know that feeling. Until you've done it and you see all the girls and you know where the girls' careers are going and you know you as a queen yourself, it's like, this is not the life that was supposed to be for me, but bitch, we made it.
I felt Puerto Rican in this. Rican. Whoa. Beady, 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 bum, bum.
Selena wasn't Puerto Rican, bro.
Selena wasn't Puerto Rican?
No.
She was Mexican.
Yeah, brother.
Beady, 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 beady.
Fucking made it. And I feel like there's sky's still the limit for you.
Sky's
Like,
the limit.
What is the proudest moment? Is that the proudest moment of your career?
The proudest moment of my career was when I bought my first home. That was the proudest moment of my career when I bought my first home. But in my life. In my life when I bought my first home, because I was the first one in my family to buy a home. And then to return with my mother and my brothers to buy her house. That was a good, you know.
Wait, you're killing me. You bought your mom a house?
Yeah, the house we grew up in. That's what she wanted. That's what she wanted. So we grew up in that. So this to be able to buy my home, then to buy the home that we grew up in. Then my mother lives with me because she's like, you know, I'm gonna tell you something. A gay boy is the best daughter a mother could have.
I'm sure. It's true. Mothers and daughters are not the tea. Like, there's this weird, like, we love each other so much, but like also hate each other. But like my brother is fucking God sent to my mother. Like, it's like. No, but I was saying if he had been, that would be her ultimate.
The gay boy, oh honey, a gay man is a daughter that a mother needed, honey. You know.
Wait, so your relationship got better, and when did that change? And is she so proud of you?
My mother's so proud of me. One of my proudest moments is definitely working with RuPaul. Definitely Beyonce. I can't even like.
I mean, that's so major, girl.
I can't even like put that into words. Like, I can't even put that into words. Like, I don't even know how to put it into words. Even when I hear the radio or I hear the song or I watch the trailer for the movie to come out and I hear my voice, I'm dark brown. Like, even when it's like that. Like, it's one of those things. It's like, fuck. Beyonce is the biggest star on the globe.
On the planet Earth. And she's friends with you.
Like, and she lives for me. Lives for me. And it's just like, girl. And it's like she says I inspire her to do stuff. Like, Those are things like that. Like, even when I'm arguing with a bitch, I'm like, bitch.
Who cares? Beyonce loves me.
Beyonce love me, pussy.
What a good story. Honestly, that's what I wanted out of this interview, was to like learn more about your story, kind of educate some fuckers, just have fun and catch up with you. And honestly, I'm like, I got it. And it's just so crazy to me. It's like, I love full circle moments. And I felt like that at Marco show, but I was so fucking busy that I barely.
You was busy. I didn't expect for you to be nothing but busy, girl. I was like, great, she got to get it together, because that's what she do. She gets it together. But this was a good rekindling. So now the next set of rekindling we got to do is when we motherfucking throw the Evita throwback party.
Andre Segal, if you're listening to this, I would love to plan this fucking with you.
Throwback party.
I would love it. Like the OGs. We even get some of like the old, even could get some of like the older go-go boys. Like I wanted to feel like they're like the mid 2000s.
And put a throne on the stage and let all the girls sit on the throne like we used
You
to.
remember the throne?
The Evita throwback stage starring, honey, Chanel, Perrillo, TS Madison, honey, Shangela. You like all the girls.
I mean, we'll invite Beyonce.
We might.
No. We don't want to start asking her for Evita favors. Well, I hope you had fun. I had so much fun.
I did, Chanel. Child, I got to go up here now and I got to pee because I've had this vodka.
I love it.
I got to get ready because I'm leaving for Philly tomorrow. I'm going to be doing some work in Philly, and then I'll be,
Fun.
Always working, darling. Always working.
I love it. Well, let's do a real catch up. Tell me when you're coming to LA. And I'm so proud of you and happy for you, and you deserve this in the world.
Thank you, sister, so much. And I'll let you know. I'll let you know privately when I'm coming to LA, because I'm coming to LA for something special.
Yeah. We don't need to tell everyone. Yeah, all right. Yeah. Yay. Okay. Yeah. Text me.
Okay. All right,
I love you. Tell me to shut up one more time.
Shut up, Chanel. Shut up, Chanel. Shut up, Chanel. Shut up, Chanel. Shut up.
My first single. I love you. Bye.
I love you, baby. Bye.
Once you find that inner peace and that inner love for yourself, everybody else will love you.
You just put a little alcohol. You don't put a lot. You just put a little brown in it. Not a lot of brown, but just a little brown.